Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Verdict Zone, the place where we untangle the messy knots of human relationships. Today's story is a classic tale of a friendship that burned bright and then fizzled out, only to explode one last time. We hear from a viewer we'll call Lance. Lance met his friend, let's call him Link, in college. For a little over a year, they were the dynamic duo. They bonded over shared interests, went to concerts, hit up every college event, and were practically inseparable. It was one of those fast, intense friendships that defines your college experience. Lance thought they had a solid, unbreakable bond. He truly believed he'd found a friend for life, someone who'd be there through thick and thin. They were brothers, partners in crime. The two guys everyone on campus knew were a package deal. It was, for all intents and purposes, the golden era of their friendship, a time Lance looked back on with a lot of nostalgia. But as we all know, golden eras don't always last forever. But then, things began to change. Slowly at first, then all at once. Link started becoming distant. He'd tell Lance he was too busy with studies, which sounds reasonable, right? Except Lance would later see photos on social media of Link at a massive party or an exclusive event, the exact kind of thing they would have gone to together just a few weeks before. Lance, trying to be a good friend, kept reaching out. He kept inviting Link to things, but the replies would take days if they came at all. The excuses got more and more flimsy. It was always, sorry, can't make it, or just a thumbs-up emoji with no explanation. The hurt started to creep in for Lance. It's a confusing feeling when someone you're so close to suddenly puts up a wall. When Lance finally worked up the courage to ask directly, "Hey, did I do something wrong? Is everything okay with us?" Link would just brush him off, saying he was overthinking things and being too sensitive. It's a classic gaslighting move, making the other person feel like they're the problem for noticing the shift in behavior. Eventually, the communication stopped entirely. Link just ghosted him. It hurt, a lot. It felt like a breakup without any closure. But Lance, to his credit, accepted it. He came to terms with the fact that people come and go, and he focused on his own life, meeting new, fantastic people who actually valued his time and energy. He rebuilt his social life and found his footing again. Months passed. Lance had truly moved on. The sting of the ghosting had faded, replaced by a quiet acceptance. He was doing well, surrounded by genuine friends, and focused on his future. Then, out of the blue, his phone lights up with a text. It's from Link. After some incredibly awkward, "Hey, how have you been?" messages, the kind of small talk you make with a stranger, Link gets straight to the point. He's in trouble and needs help. The trouble wasn't just from partying too hard. Link confessed he'd blown his entire semester's tuition money. He hadn't just spent it on nights out, he'd lost it all at an illegal high-stakes underground poker game that was masquerading as a party. He was completely desperate, facing not just the wrath of his very angry parents, but potential expulsion from college if he couldn't replace the funds immediately. He admitted to Lance that he'd contacted him because everyone else in his new cool crowd, the very people he'd ditched Lance for, had already ditched him the second he was in trouble. He was completely out of options, and Lance was his last resort. Lance was stunned. He was reading these messages in disbelief. He asked the obvious question, "Why me? Why are you coming to me now after you ghosted me for months and made it clear you wanted nothing to do with me?" Link's answer was brutally, purely self-serving. He said it was because no one else would help. He didn't say it was because he missed their friendship or because he realized he'd made a mistake. He came to Lance because he had exhausted every other option. Lance, feeling this weird mix of anger and pity, told him no. He explained, very calmly, that Link had made the choice to cut contact. He had chosen his new friends and his new lifestyle. Lance couldn't justify draining his own savings, money he had worked hard for, to fix a problem born from Link's incredibly reckless behavior. What followed was a complete meltdown from Link. First, it was begging. Then it was bargaining, promising he'd pay Lance back and they'd be friends again. And when that didn't work, it became a full-blown tirade. Link started hurling insults, saying Lance was never a real friend, that he was lucky to have ever been in Link's circle in the first place, and that this refusal just proved how selfish Lance was. In that moment, Any lingering doubt or shred of pity in Lance's mind vanished. He saw Link for exactly who he was. He blocked him on everything and continued with his life. But now, Lance is left with a nagging question, and this is where we need your help. He sees the core principle here. You don't get to exclude someone from your good times and then demand their support in your bad times. You can't treat someone like they're disposable and then expect them to be your safety net. But a small part of him still wonders if he should have taken the high road. Was refusing to help just kicking someone when they were already down? Was he morally obligated to be the bigger person, even for a former friend who treated him as an absolute last resort? So, we put it to you, the jury. Was Lance justified in protecting his boundaries and his finances? Or was he the a-hole for not extending a lifeline to someone who was truly, desperately drowning in their own mistakes? The gavel is yours. Deliver your verdict in the comments below. And remember, if you have a story of friendship, betrayal, or a moral dilemma you just can't solve, we want to hear it. Send your story to the link in the description to be featured on a future episode of The Verdict Zone.